Good day, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to our participant webinar. My name is Tom Shorrock. I am an operations manager with the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award Foundation. On the call today, we also have Lucy Hayter, if you want to give us a quick wave. And today's webinar is going to be hosted and interviews done by James McClements and Tarindra, who are on the call today. If you want to just give us a quick wave as well, and I'll let them introduce themselves in more detail very shortly. And they will also be introducing our panelists.
We are delighted to be here today, and it's another fantastic opportunity to hear from our participants from right around the world about their experience during what has been a really challenging year during 2020, but at a time when they've been able to continue going with their award activities. And I'm James McClements. I'm also one of the emerging leaders representing the EMAS region. I'm a Bronze, Silver and Gold Award holder, and for my day job, I work for the Duke of Edinburgh's Award in the United Kingdom.
Hi everyone, lovely to be here. And my name is Tarindra Peruma. I'm from Sri Lanka and also one of the emerging leaders representing the Asia Pacific region. And really looking forward to hear exciting stories and share wonderful messages with our audience today.
My name is Monica Murray. I have done all three levels of the award, and I completed them in South Africa, which is why these badges might look slightly different to the ones you have. And I am currently living in Australia.
So it's great to see so many young people and award leaders listening today. We hope you really benefit from this. And Tarindra is now going to introduce our panelists.
So welcome you all, lovely panelists and amazing award participants today. And we're really, really excited to hear your great stories, how you've been continuing the award during the pandemic. And I really would like to start with Haya and introduce yourself today.
Hi everyone, my name is Haya Salam. I go to Uptown International School in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, and I'm currently undertaking the Silver Duke of Edinburgh Award.
Thank you, Haya. Next, we'll go with Matteo.
Hi, I'm Matteo from the British School of Barcelona, and I just finished the Silver International Award.
Thank you, Matteo. Leila?
Hi, my name is Leila Abdelbari. I go to Uptown School in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, and currently I'm undertaking the silver level of the award.
Thank you, Leila. Next, we'll go with Yingzu.
Hi, I'm Yingzu. I'm from the British School of Barcelona, and I'm currently doing Gold Award.
Thank you, Yingzu. And lastly, we have Kira.
Hi, my name is Kira Smith. I go to the British School of Barcelona in Spain, and I am commencing my Silver Award.
All right, I'll go ahead first. I'm Bismesh. I live in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and I'm currently undertaking the silver level of the award.
Hello, I'm Preeti Bhatia, and I finished my bronze award. I'm planning to start my silver very soon, and I am from India, but I live in Dubai.
Hello, everyone. My name is Devansh Datta. I'm currently a Gold Award participant, and I'm from Nepal.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bishruti, and I'm from Nepal. I'm currently undertaking the Gold Award.
Hi, my name is Jenny, and I'm from Indonesia, and I'm currently participating in the Silver Award.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I'm a Silver Award participant, and I'm from Jakarta, Indonesia.
So I'll ask you firstly, how have you, or like, which part of the award have you enjoyed the most during continuing the award during the lockdown, and why was that?
My answer is not going to be surprising, but it's the expedition, because after the quarantine, being able to go with my friends in the mountain and spend a good time in fresh air, I really enjoyed that.
That's lovely to hear. What an experience you've been able to get on with the adventurous journey after quarantine. Yeah. Thank you, Matteo, for that. Anyone else would like to share?
Throughout the global pandemic, if it weren't for the DFB program, I probably would have found myself adopting a sedentary lifestyle. Therefore, the physical part of the program was probably the most enjoyable for me, as it helped me maintain a balanced lifestyle and make sure that I'm keeping active in the marathon, which is the pandemic that we're in.
Definitely. That's very interesting to hear, Leila. Thank you for that. I myself have enjoyed a lot of physical recreation at home, so can relate to that. What about the others? Hea, do you want to share anything?
My favorite part of the award was probably that it comes with a great attainment. So when you complete the award, you're just like, yay, I did it. And although the award does require a lot of time and effort and dedication, it is actually very well worth it. That feeling when you finally take off your hiking boots and realize that you've completed your award is an immense feeling.
Definitely. I could really agree with you there. Thank you, Hea. Anyone wants to go next? Kira, or
your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to say that my favorite part was probably the sport as well, but for kind of a bit of a different reason, as well as getting out of the sedentary lifestyle. I also used a different way of doing my exercise. Instead of going for a run, I was using kind of a virtual world for cycling. So it kind of felt like, even though I'm in lockdown, I felt kind of free because I was traveling around this world just doing exercise.
That's very interesting, Kara. Thank you for sharing that. Definitely. I would not think that pandemic would make physical recreation interesting, but wow, that's surprising great answers. So Yingzi, you want to go next as well?
Yeah, so my favorite part is also the expedition. So I walk about 30 kilometers, and when you actually look at the Google map, you will see like how short the distance is from your start to the destination, which is my favorite part.
All right, so I would say that I enjoyed navigating and participating in the service section of the award the most, especially because the satisfaction of having global outreach and having to contribute to other skill development is something that brought me satisfaction and fulfillment. And I say that because the activity I had done was mentoring other students, elementary skill students, in debate in Model United Nations. Skills that I find are pretty important, and those are pretty complex formats of debate. So at this point in time where all of us are disconnected from the other, helping others communicate and talk with everyone else is something that really gave me fulfillment. Yeah.
So I personally enjoyed the skill section the most. I started self-learning Mandarin over the lockdown period, and I think I most enjoyed this because it was an activity that I wanted to pursue for a long time, and I really hadn't come around to do it. And once I was at home with nowhere to go, we were in a lockdown for over 4 months. So that was an activity I was able to pursue finally. And I never imagined that it would come at such a time. I mean, I'd almost be forced into it, but it's been really, it's been really enriching, and I've been trying to continue it, and I hopefully will be able to continue it even after my award. So that's what I had to say. Thank you.
So before you go, do you want to give us a few words in Mandarin?
I'll try to say a sentence. Wo Ming se Zhao Devansh. That's my name's Devansh. I'm not sure how well I pronounced that, but
well, I will believe you. I think it sounds brilliant. Well done, Bishruti.
I also enjoyed the service section of the award the most. I used to go to the library before the pandemic, but because we were in a lockdown for so long, the library was also closed. So I had a neighbor who is a hemophiliac, and so I talked to him, and then we started working together. I wanted to help him with his schoolwork because even his school was shut down, and he was having a difficult time managing his schoolwork and going to a hospital for visits. So I enjoyed this section the most because now we are like brothers and sisters, and I never realized how deep this would go. And International Award, it has helped me foster such a relationship, and that's why I really like this part of this.
I think that's a lovely story, and it's so nice to hear that you've been able to help your neighbour over the last year when he has obviously struggled. So well done, really like that. Parati.
So for me, it was physical recreation because personally, I'm someone who likes to go outside, go out, have fun, and all of a sudden you're inside your house for like 8 months and you can't really do anything. So the physical recreation section really helped me channelize that restlessness I had from staying indoors. and my activity was dance, and I really grew to enjoy that, and I became very passionate about dance over this award journey.
Brilliant. Yeah, and I think that's so important to be able to keep yourself physically fit at a time when, you know, you're kind of stuck in the house all the time. So it's nice to be able to find a physical recreation activity that you can keep going with, which is fantastic.
That's lovely. It always, adventurous journeys definitely always make us feel like we've reached a lot of goals, and also really lovely to hear physical recreation being one of the favorite parts of the award during continuing the award in a pandemic. So thank you guys for that. James, what do you?
Fantastic. So, Kira, I think your answer to the first question around being able to use your cycling without actually leaving home is a fantastic example of overcoming a challenge during the pandemic and lockdown, whenever you perhaps weren't able to go out and do your running because you had to stay inside. But I would like everyone to take a moment or two to think about how during the pandemic you had challenges to face with your award. So what were the biggest challenges you had to overcome? Perhaps activities then that you didn't particularly enjoy because of those challenges. What activity did you do for that? So who would like to go first? What was your biggest challenge or an activity you didn't enjoy taking part in? Haya, go ahead.
So although I didn't necessarily have to change any of my activities due to the circumstances presented by the pandemic, I still had to be very proactive in the way I approach these challenges. So for example, I volunteered as the backstage crew for my school production, and due to the lockdown, it obviously got canceled. So I had to reach out to my teacher and ask her whether there would be different things that I could do, like research on the play or investigate more on ways that I could improve the play if school were to ever reopen again. And this activity was actually my major activity at the time. So I did have to adjust it to make it my minor activity. And it just shows how much the DOV program is very adaptable in the way that we can change things due to any challenges presented to us.
Can we ask what the play was?
It was Oliver.
Oh, excellent. Oh, and who were you going to be? Were you in the play?
I wasn't actually in the play. I was just the backstage crew, so I was doing the hair and makeup.
Brilliant. Excellent. Anyone else have any challenges they had to overcome, or perhaps a section you haven't particularly enjoyed doing? Matteo.
Yeah. I think it's not a challenge, but the only problem I had was that I was going to, or with some friends, we were going to organize a beach clean, but since the school closed down, there wouldn't be any students for it. So I had to change activities. So that was my service, and I used Zooniverse to do a service online.
Fantastic. And did you enjoy the online activity?
Yeah, I did.
Great.
Sorry, James, to interrupt that. There's a question that's come in through chat. It's actually quite pertinent to what you've just been speaking to Matteo about. So somebody's asking from the Netherlands, so did you have to follow online lessons for school, and was doing the award next to that another extra busy thing to do, or a welcome distraction? Oh, Layla, put your hand up. Yeah.
So I think it was definitely an added challenge, but it almost taught you how to prioritize your time. And with being home more, like it was easy to go into bad habits, and like the Duke of Edinburgh program allowed you to be accountable for like what you spend your extra time doing. So working towards the goals while they had their challenges, it definitely helped you feel like you're using your time more valuably and like learning skills that will help you throughout like every stage of your life. So it was definitely like a choice you had to make on how you want to spend your time doing, but it was rewarding at the end to achieve the award.
Yeah, I think that's so true, and I think it's lovely to hear you saying that. It's a challenge, but it's a worthwhile challenge and something that you feel the benefit of. Kira, you have your hand raised.
I found that actually the Duke of Edinburgh was kind of a very welcome distraction, because sitting at my desk all day trying to learn online got quite tedious after a while. So I welcomed the idea of having to go outside or into the garage wherever the bike was set up and do this virtual cycling. But also I found it quite challenging at times, because where you've just been sat down all day, the last thing you really feel like doing is getting up and going for a bike ride. So I found that it was a welcome distraction, but hard to get going sometimes to complete it because you lose the willpower.
And were you able to keep that going? Did you complete your activity, or are you still struggling along?
No, I have completed it now. I did manage to finish it during quarantine, but it took a lot longer than it should have been because I wasn't as motivated due to quarantine. But I think the Duke of Edinburgh at least made me do some exercise. Otherwise, I would have had a very sedentary lifestyle.
Brilliant, brilliant. And Yingzu?
I feel like during quarantine we have a lot more time, so I complete all my skills during quarantine and also service. Because I did online service, so pandemics actually gave me a lot of time to complete all this stuff, and it's not as stressful as what you might think. But once you actually get going, it's where everything flows.
Excellent. And Haya?
So obviously by approximately the 6th week of lockdown, it started like getting more and more boring. So I had to become more creative about how I choose to spend my day every day. And obviously I decided that it would make it worthwhile if I took these times and turned it into more of a learning experience. So with my Duke of Edinburgh Award, I had my skills section, which was an opportunity to improve my linguistic skills in French. So during the time, life was obviously filled with a lot of uncertainty, but I chose to control what was under my control rather than focusing on the negative aspects of things.
Lovely. Yeah, I think that's so important, and the award definitely gives you that ability. How have you got on with your French studies?
So I took 26 hours of courses online. It was difficult at first because I used to take these courses face to face, but as the lockdown, it all happened suddenly, so I just had to make that quick change.
Brilliant. I'm quite impressed. You got to week 6 before you were bored. I think I was bored by about day 6, so well done.
So for me personally, the section that I enjoyed the least was physical recreation, because online school, all you do is sit down, stare at a screen, and sometimes it's really hard to get out of a slump. But because of the award, it gave me motivation to actually work out, and it's kept me fit and healthy during these times.
Fantastic. And can I ask how you've been keeping physically active? What's your favorite thing to do? Is it dance or just putting on like a fitness video, yoga?
Yeah, I used to follow YouTube fitness videos, but lately I've been enjoying cycling on my stationary bike.
Oh, fantastic. And Jennifer?
So for me, it was also physical recreation because I feel like since the pandemic started, I became more lazy because I used to do volleyball varsity at school. So I had to transition to my own personal workout. And I also did the same thing as Jessica. So I also followed YouTube videos.
Okay, fantastic. And are you starting to enjoy physical recreation a little bit more now that you've got into a bit more of a routine, or are you able to get back into team sports and get out there with other people?
So I'm still currently exercising at home because in Indonesia, we're still quarantining.
All right, so just to add on, I would say that for me, physical recreation too has been the hardest part of the award, but not because of it not being a team sport anymore, but mainly because the activity that you choose in physical recreation could be enhanced when you interact with people around you. So those restrictions on the interactions you have with people around you and the physical interactions you have in your community is something that really made that challenging this time. So the only way to overcome that would be getting in touch with the people around you, getting in touch with the right people around you who can help you with your physical recreation. And yeah, that's what helped me get through that section.
We've also had a question sent in from one of the attendees about managing time, and I was just going to throw this out there to you guys who have been interviewed. How did you manage your time doing the award, which conflicted with your other personal activities, your schoolwork, your college work, your daily life, basically? So how did you manage your time? Devansh, have you? Yeah, do you want to go for it?
Yeah, sure. For me, I personally started my Gold Award back in 2019, July 2019. So by 2020 July, I was done with 2 of my activities. So that was about 2-3 months that since we started online school. So it really hadn't become very hectic as of then. So it wasn't too tough to manage time at that point in time, because I mean, we had like a couple of hours of class every day, online class every day. So the rest of the day I was pretty much free. So to that end, it was pretty easy to manage time at that point. But the third activity, the activity which I've been doing for 18 months, which I have to complete for 18 months, that is Mandarin. I usually try to take out like 30-45 minutes every couple of days at the end of my day, after I'm done with homework, after I'm done with all my schoolwork, just to sit down, revise, look at my notes, pull up a video, just watch it for a few minutes. So I think and since I enjoy it, I really don't think of it as work. It's almost like a stress buster for me. So I think that's how I've been able to manage it online.
Great, that sounds really, really good advice. And Paridi, did you want to add your opinion on that?
Yeah, sure. So I feel that having everything online really saves you a lot of the time that you would spend traveling somewhere. So that time can also be used devoting to a certain activity. And one thing that I've done that really helped me was maybe at the beginning of the week. So our week starts from Sunday. So every Saturday, I would like sit and make a weekly planner. So on Sunday, I will do this activity. On Wednesday, maybe I'll do the physical recreation. And this way, like my whole week was planned, so I knew exactly when I will be doing something. And that's how I manage my time effectively.
That's brilliant. Bijruti, did you have something you wanted to add on that?
Well, Devansh said most of what I was going to say, and even Praditi added on that the time I used to spend commuting to school and back or to awards, I think with things being online, it has been more convenient, and I think I've saved more time, which I have contributed in doing the awards than what I would do normally. That's it.
I'm really excited and to hear all these fascinating answers and how you've taken up challenges as young people during this really challenging, uncertain times. So I think we've already got a lot of responses for this, but if I may also ask from everyone, did you by any chance change any of your activities during the pandemic? And from what activity did you change from and to?
So my sport I chose as my major section in my bronze, and before quarantine started I was completing it as netball with my team after schools. But when we went into lockdown, school stopped, so my netball team, I wasn't able to complete netball anymore. So I had to then come up with a new way to do it. And my dad and I looked at different ways to continue sport, and that's when we come up with this cycling.
Right. So do you find cycling interesting now?
I mean, I think it was quite fun because instead of just, facing a wall or something, cycling around this virtual world, you were almost exploring it, and they had kind of different quirks around the world that was quite fun, and it kept you going, because otherwise just cycling for half an hour in front of a wall can get quite tedious.
Definitely. But I'm really proud of the fact that you've kept going with resiliency during such a crucial time. So that's very amazing. Who wants to go next? And anyone else? Layla, yes?
So within the skills section, I didn't change the aim of my goal, though I adapted the way in which I approached it. My skill was to develop my leadership skills, which I acquired through a system at our school. And the system consists of weekly meetings and tutoring younger students. The overall aim is to increase the opportunities that the school offers. Though then transitioning to distance learning, it meant that meetings weren't possible anymore. So I decided to combine a group of students, and we created a website which we now use this year to display all the upcoming events and like what's coming up for people to be more aware of what to look forward to.
All right, thank you, Leila, for sharing that. So how interesting was it? How was it when coming up with distance learning from a very face-to-face experience?
I mean, you definitely had to take advantage of the use of technology and how like it became much easier to communicate. You had to kind of think out of the box, and although it was challenging, you had to like change your mindset and just know like this is the situation you're in, and it's your choice how you choose to approach it, like whether you're going to use it to your advantage or just think of the challenges it comes with. And I tried to take the positive aspects of it and think of how I can better the future of the school using the skill section.
I really like the fact that you said how you can better the school with the opportunities you get during whatever the challenges that you might face. So this is clearly a really fantastic way of us young people being adaptable for situations.
So I had to change 2 of my activities. So I used to volunteer in the library, but now I'm volunteering and helping Sishit out. And for physical recreation, I played football in my school. I was in the school team, but because of the lockdown and school being closed, I have been occupied. I've been occupying myself with home workouts and other things I can do at home that will keep me busy.
Brilliant. And it's really good that you can do that, because I think there's been so many things that we've had to stop doing, and it's great that you can just pick something else up and keep going with your activities. Parati.
So like Vishruti, I also play football, and that was my original activity. I'm in the school team. But because of the whole pandemic, I had to change mine to dance, because that's something you can do much better online.
Yeah, brilliant. And were you able to find an online class to attend, or was that a bit of a challenge?
I actually had to go to speak to one of the people in a dance class and have them organize it online for me, because it was just the beginning of the pandemic, so they weren't very equipped with having classes online.
Brilliant. Yeah, and I think as things have moved on with the pandemic, lots of people have moved online, but at the start that was a bit of a challenge, wasn't it? Brilliant. And Vismay, what have you had to change?
Similar to Vishruti, I've had to change my service section of the award. I used to serve at the temple, and that was part of my service, but I've changed that to mentoring students, because the pandemic allows us for online communication with people around us. So you can mentor students online using Zoom, Teams, and I've taken advantage of that to use it for my service section. Yeah.
Brilliant. And have you enjoyed doing that?
A lot, because those are the activities I'm passionate about, and I feel are impactful in today's society.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Anyone else had to change, or have the rest of you been able to keep going with the activities you had started beforehand, Devansh?
I too have had to change my service and skill section. So for service, I was initially volunteering at a non-profit school in my local community. But then once the lockdown started, everything was closed. Schools are still closed till this date, almost a year later. So I had to switch to something called Missing Maps. It's an online project where you using satellite imagery, you map on different features, so roads, hills, all of those kind of stuff. So and that information is pretty much used by organizations such as Red Cross, the United Nations. All those sort of organizations use that information to maybe, let's say, providing relief, providing aid in certain parts of the world. So that's what I had to switch to for service. And on the other hand, for skill, I was initially learning how to play the piano. But then once lockdown started, I was not able to access a lot of resources. I was not able to access my tutor. So I had to switch to learning Mandarin, because that was something that I thought I could do on my own.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I have to say, I'm quite impressed when I hear learning Mandarin on your own.
Yes.
I struggle with languages, so I think that's very impressive that you've picked that up yourself. And I also think it's brilliant to hear about the Missing Maps project. It's fantastic the number of activities you can do from home online without having to leave. And part of my day job, I approve people's gold awards. So I go through people's gold awards and check that they meet all of the requirements. And it's been great to see a few people actually using Missing Maps as their activity. And it's interesting to hear that people in Northern Ireland are doing the same thing as you're doing right across at the other side of the world. And that's probably something that before the pandemic, wouldn't have happened all that often, but it's been good that people have been able to pick up those online activities and actually help organizations that have probably struggled to get people to take part in those activities before. So that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Thanks.
Sorry, James,
Yeah.
to interrupt. We've got a question sort of linking into that, about your last question there, Tarindra, someone in the audience. So the question is, how did you find that the service section worked remotely?
So for me, it was mainly about the fact that my goal was no longer attainable anymore because I was volunteering in a school production. So what I did was I had to message my teacher and ask her if there were any alternatives to this, and she provided me with a list of activities that I could do. So what I had to do was I collaborated with my costume design team online, and we talked together about the different aspects that we could include if the play were to ever come back to life, which obviously it didn't, but it was a good experience because we got to broaden out our knowledge about costume design and the play background in itself.
So definitely utilize the rest of the time to get your knowledge more about all these plays and the costumes. That's amazing to hear, actually. So I see Yingzu, you want to contribute as well.
So before lockdown, I did environmental awareness for my school as service, but then I had to switch to online service, and I used a website called Zooniverse, where you can help scientists to collect data, and that's part of my service during lockdown.
Right. So how has the experience been so far, Yingzu?
It's quite convenient as you can just go online. Also, my service was to find mitochondria from microscopic photos and help the scientists to like count how many mitochondria there in the photo, and that's quite like convenient, and as I said, and it's easy to attain the goal for service.
Also, Yingzu, could I ask another question? Because you just told us about mitochondria being a part of your service. And has this activities been helpful with your education as well?
Yeah, the service also helped me to like identify mitochondria in a black and white photograph. It's easier, and then now in biology, it's quite useful to identify the structure of the cell.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Yingzu, which shows us that non-formal education and formal education strikes a perfect balance with the award program. Matteo?
Yeah, I wanted to add on what Yingzu said, because I was also doing an environmental awareness service, and I switched to Universe, and I wanted to say that I really recommend it if you don't have any access to any online service, because there are a lot of different opportunities, especially if you like science, like me or Yingzu, there are a lot of very interesting opportunities.
Definitely. Thank you so much for sharing that, Matteo. Brilliant answers.
Sorry, yeah. How have you ever thought of just leaving your activities because of the time it occupied and the stress? So I'm assuming maybe the stress with regards to COVID. So an interesting question there.
Yeah.
I don't know if any other panelists felt that. So have you ever thought of just leaving your activities because of the time it occupied and the stress? Did you ever feel that during lockdown at all? I can see Devant shaking his head, so that's it's always positive.
Good
Did anyone
sign.
ever feel like that? Yeah, it's a very good sign.
Parati?
So I feel that when we're picking the activity we want to do throughout the journey, I feel that choosing something that will help you actually cope with the stress is what you should be looking for. So for me, the physical recreation was dance. So it helped me remove my mind from the whole COVID pandemic, from all the stress from my homework. Another thing that helped me was my skill activity, which was violin. So it really helped me deviate my mind from the stress. So when you pick your activity, try to choose something that will help you cope with the stress better.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic answer. And I think I think it's been a challenge people have always faced taking part in the reward. So we have so many struggles in everyday life. You know, you have to balance your reward program with your homework and with all of your other commitments. But actually, remember, you don't have to rush. You know, you can do this in your own time. You have until you're 25 to complete your reward. So don't run away from it. But make it work for you. You know, don't think you have to do all of your activities in one go at the same time. Spread it out and make it work for you. And like Parati said, it's a fantastic way to relax and to step away sometimes from the busyness of everyday life and be able to do things like your dance, or, you know, even to feel the benefit of your volunteering. You know, there's something nice about helping other people. And I think at times when you're really busy yourself, it's nice to be able to go and give time to help other people. So yeah, fantastic. Thank you for that answer.
We've also had another one in the chat from Timothy, who's asked a two-part question. The first part is, what important lessons have you learned from doing your award? And please share with us how your work has contributed to the community. And I'd like to ask that to Jess and Jenny. I know you've done something interesting for your voluntary service section, so if you want to tell everyone about that.
Hi, so yeah, for my service section, I actually co-founded a nonprofit with Jenny, and that actually became a personal project that I really enjoyed doing. It didn't feel like an obligation, and yeah, as Freddie said, it's a way to release stress.
Can you tell us more? Like, what's the non-for-profit about? What do you guys do? Who's it aimed at helping? This is so exciting.
So since the pandemic started, we actually gained new skills, which for me personally was drawing. So at first, we start to fundraise using our own illustrations. So we would give a custom digital illustration in exchange for a donation. And from that, we raised a total of 10 million rupiah.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Yes.
And is it still going?
Yes, we actually changed the, how do you say? Like the theme. So instead of giving custom digital illustrations, we now fundraise from selling our own merchandise. And I think Jessica can explain more about that.
So in the beginning, we started as a two-person organization, and it's called Art for COVID. And since then, we've decided to upscale, and we actually recruited other team members from all around the world. We have now over 30 members, and we design, we produce, and we sell our own merchandise, such as t-shirts. And from that, 100% of the profit is donated to Boss Foundation, Borneo Orangutan Survival Foundation, and WWF. So every month we aim to adopt one orangutan, and the rest we donate it to WWF. And all our merchandise design is aimed towards spreading awareness on global issues such as COVID-19 health protocols and climate change.
Amazing. That's so great. Congratulations, you guys. That's really, really big and extremely innovative.
Thank you.
Obviously, everyone in the award is doing great things as well for their voluntary service section. I wondered if any of you other guys have any examples of how your voluntary service has contributed to the community.
I think we've had some lovely examples before. So I think the fact that, you know, you've been able to support your friends and neighbours in really difficult times, especially I love the story of helping your neighbour and being able to help him at a time when he hasn't been able to, you know, with school and hospital appointments. I think that's been fantastic. Has anyone else been able to help their community at this difficult time? I think lots. I think you all have in different ways, haven't you?
Yes, and it can be extremely simple as well. Anything from cooking a meal for a neighbor to making a phone call to a friend who you know is going through a rough time.
Parati.
So I actually finished my community service before the pandemic started, so I was really lucky with that. But what we did was we collected all the electronic devices from our community, and we tried to take the spare parts and sell it so that that money could be donated, as well as taking all these spare parts and giving it out, such as mobile phones that could still be in working condition when repaired. So we would give them to those people who had low income, who had very little salary, especially during this pandemic. And with the onset of that, we took all of these electronic devices and gave it to them so that they could use it to communicate back with their family and friends at home.
Brilliant.
That's so important. And the work behind that, not only are you contributing to the power of connection and their potential to gain work, but also extremely so for their mental health, which I think is hand in hand with the negative effects of the pandemic. Which is, what have you learned about yourself through this entire experience? Your good points, your bad points, things to work on, or discovering that you're really great at something that you never thought was possible?
So right before starting the program, something I really struggled with was communicating with other people, right? I'm not really an outgoing person, but the DOE program not only requires you to develop yourself and form and navigate a program for yourself, but also to talk to other people so you can get guidance as to how you can do that. So especially in this time of pandemic, when you can't talk to people as conveniently as you could in ordinary circumstances, me overcoming that obstacle and talking to people, getting together with the right people and navigating my program with the help of other people really helped me to understand that I could communicate with other people, even if there are hurdles in between. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Fantastic. That's so great. Like, especially in such a period of isolation where you're not as called upon to be present and to speak to others, to suddenly discover that you do have it in you to be confident and to speak up. So thank you so much for even putting your hand up now and wanting to join this webinar. That really speaks to your courage to want to put yourself out there, which is going to serve you well so nicely into the future. Jessica?
Yeah, so through the award, I discovered just how much I love giving back to the community, because before joining, I knew I liked it, but I never really had the motivation or the time. But because of the award, it gave me that extra push, and I found my ability to make something great out of it and make a positive impact in this world. And the time management skills and diligence that I learned throughout my Bronze Award journey really helped.
Okay, so for me, one activity that I felt really helped me was violin. So before, I wasn't very good at the instrument, but with the DOE award, it really gave me that motivation to go ahead and practice and achieve my goals. And that's something that I feel that over this 1 year of achieving this award, I feel that my violin skills have developed a lot more than the entire previous years I've been practicing it.
Fantastic. It's just amazing what a little bit of extra time can do and the willingness to want to go further.
And linked to what Paridi was saying, we've had a question come in on the chat again. Those who've received coaching throughout your award, particularly during the pandemic, any coaching that's happened online, do you find this more effective than face-to-face coaching, or what's been different for you guys? So that can be learning an instrument, those who've done the new languages, whatever you've done for your section. So Vismay, do you want to go ahead?
I would say that there are positives and negatives both to this situation, mainly because when you're not in contact with your assessors or with the people who are coaching you, right, your transition of skills and how you progress your skill is mainly tracked by a coach, and that can be done online as well. So that's the one con that you would face. But the pro is the fact that you would be saving a lot of time and you could send a lot of your progress to your coach online using all the different facilities that are provided to you with the internet. So if you're learning an instrument, you could always, let's say you're writing new sheet music, send that to your coach, have it tracked properly. Let's say you're making a cover, you record it properly, ask your coach for videos, and your coach could send you links and different resources online, which are just as effective. So yeah, there are pros and cons both to this issue.
I pretty much agree with what Vismay had to say. But in my personal opinion, I feel like online coaching has not been very fruitful for me. Like as I mentioned before, I did start out my skill section by learning the piano, and once it went online, I did try to continue. I was still like, as Vismay said, you can always just record what you're playing, send an audio recording, send a video recording. I tried to do all of those things. I sent it through to my tutor, but it's just that after a certain point, I feel like it becomes tough for a tutor to guide his student to. For example, let's say certain hand placements. It's not really possible for my tutor to tell me everything online. I mean, if he's not really looking at me playing it in person, then it's tough for him to guide me as to how my hand placement should be, whether I'm exactly following a beat or not, whether I'm exactly playing the correct notes or not in certain cases. So in my opinion, it wasn't as fruitful. That's why I switched over. That's why I switched away from piano. But
Yeah, like Devansh said, for something like an instrument, it's very difficult to actually do it online. And that's one problem I faced while doing my violin. And one more thing was that with string instruments, you kind of have to like tune the instrument. And that's something I did not know how to do. So doing that online, even with the sound quality being so different at times, that the tuning aspect wasn't working, but it turned out to be a good thing because I had to learn how to tune it myself. So my coach would send me like YouTube videos on how to tune my instrument. And because of this award being online, I actually ended up learning how to do that myself.
Okay, so during the global pandemic of COVID, it was certainly an eye-opening health disaster of nature, which touted everyone about the significance of self-care, which is vital for our own survival and well-being. So sitting at home for 3 months did not obviously come very naturally. I had to try and reorient my life and remember that there was no better time than today. In particular, it was very important that I learned to live my passion and have a hobby. So the Duke of Edinburgh Award was a perfect opportunity for this because it helped me overcome this challenge. It taught me to never make my life too people dependent and, make peace with myself, especially when I have all of the time in the world. So instead, I embraced all of the time that I currently had, and I tried finding something that excited me. So something that excited me was the skills section of my award, which was learning the French language. So I got into action, I reignited my passion back, and I took these unprecedented times and turned it into a very valuable learning experience.
Thank you. I think if we asked for the perfect answer to that question, that was almost it. I think that was, just fantastic, and so lovely to hear. Does anyone else want to go ahead with what you've learned about yourself during, especially taking part in your award over the last year, Kira?
Well, as kind of realizing that I shouldn't be completely people dependent, I also realized that I shouldn't let my environment and situation dictate what I am doing and what I should be doing with my life. And I think that the global pandemic was a really good example that even though I am quarantined and I'm stuck in my house, I'm still able to do everything that I could normally do as a person and that I require and need to do. So the sport, I could still do sport. I could go for a run. And it helped me kind of find different ways around it and complete different obstacles that normally you wouldn't have thought of in normal life because you could just go to the shops, you could just head out somewhere. So it was quite helpful to look at the world with a different perspective.
Fantastic. I think that's something we've all had to learn to do over this last year, isn't it? Things that we used to take for granted, we've had to learn how to do in a different way, and actually adjusting our award programs to fit as well has been a challenge, but one that I think we've all been able to overcome. Yingzhu, Leila, or Matteo? Matteo, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
I thought of something.
Great.
I think something I realized was in opposition to what Heya and Kira said, which is my need to be with others. I usually don't identify me as someone people dependent, but during the quarantine, I realized that after a week of not talking to my friends, I really wanted to be with them. And so I resorted to doing my sport on every week, well, every day, on a phone call with a friend that was also doing the international award. And so, it was, I learned that it's important to keep maintaining a relationship with others.
Fantastic. And Leila?
So completing the award during these unprecedented times taught me that I'm genuinely a person that likes to stick to routine. The program taught me that you can take control of how you organize your time and how to take initiative and responsibility for what you spend your time doing. Working towards each goal in the program allowed me to ensure that I'm using the extra time that I now had in distance learning more valuably and ensure that I maintained a balanced lifestyle. I would say that it firsthand showed me the power of having a drive and how that allows you to be resilient. The program taught me how to approach challenges, persevere, and adapt to changes. Like, for example, changing aims may have not been ideal, though it was doable, and I ended up learning new skills because of it that may not directly link with the program, but because of having to adapt and be more flexible, it allows you to persevere and continue even when things don't necessarily go your way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, yes, I think your comment there that it may not directly relate to the program is one thing, but the brilliant thing about the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award is actually it helps shape the full person for life and work and all of those challenges that you face. So while you may experience something taking part in your award that you think might not be directly related, actually the program helps you in your entirety to shape you for your future life. And I think it's something that's really important to remember as you're taking part.
So I would like to ask all of you, I think this question was definitely answered as well, but you can speak more specifically about it as well. So did you choose to help anyone directly affected by the pandemic as a part of your award program? It can be from the service or skill or physical recreation section. Were you able to, okay, Leila?
So experiencing how isolating and lonely this pandemic can make one feel, I decided to try and support the elderly who are impacted by the pandemic. So as part of my service this year, I do weekly calls in which I help and befriend the elderly. I try to talk with them, listen to their stories, and sometimes play games with them with the hopes to just make them feel a little less lonely through this all.
That's wonderful to hear, Leila. So what medium do you use? Like, do you use online calls or something like that, or?
Yeah, I use online calls, and for example, like some of the elderly I know are professors or used to teach in-person classes, though they may not be as used to using technology. So I've tried to help them navigate through Zoom and how they can give their lessons through the use of technology.
That's wonderful to hear. I hope they had a great time with Leila, and definitely the isolation can do so much of impact on mental health and everything. So it's really nice to hear how you've helped someone else during the pandemic. Is there anyone who wants to contribute to the answer as well, or share your experiences of how you helped? Yes, Matea?
I'm not sure if what I'm going to say is 100% answering this question, but I think it's going to be useful for some people. But during this pandemic, I used Be My Eyes, which is an application to help blind people. And I'm not sure if they're affected by the pandemic, but it was, at least after helping them, I could talk to them. It's similar to what Leila said. And I really recommend this application to anyone who would want to do a service, because you install it, and then when someone blind needs some help to do an everyday task, they call, and if you pick up, then you just help them. It's very easy, and you have a great feeling of satisfaction after.
Amazing, actually, Matea. Would you be able to share the name with us again, so that anyone who wants to take it down?
It's called Be My Eyes. Do you want me to type it in the group, in the chat?
Yes, please, if you can. So it would be great for any young person out there willing to help someone and not finding different ways to do that. Be My Eyes. So I'm really happy of the ways you're trying to reach out to different people and being able to provide your service during a much needed time. Brilliant work, Matea. Kira?
I mean, this is more of just kind of supporting people, but I've been a tutor helping little kids in maths and English for about 4 years. But when it came to the pandemic, I normally do it in class, like live. So when it came to the pandemic, I decided to just kind of stop working and everything. But then I realized that quite a few of the kids that I teach were going into year 1 or year 3. So they were changing kind of levels in school, and they were quite far behind because they weren't learning or anything. So I decided to swap to a medium online and continue to try and teach these kids online, so that they didn't go into year 1 and year 3 completely baffled and confused about what is happening, because they don't happen to be native in English.
Right. That's wonderful experience, Kira. Would you like to share us how that experience has been and how the kids have reacted to it as well? Because we've seen that a lot of online education is happening and it's not the easiest to deal with as well. So how is that experience?
I mean, from a teacher kind of point of view, it can be quite difficult because before the class, you need to come up with very different ideas. Because I'm working with kids who are aged about 4 to 7. So they're quite young, they get distracted quite easily. And online as well, you're not really there to kind of sit them back down in the chair or anything. So it was a lot more you having to find games online and you're trying to teach. I did a lot of PowerPoints with kind of games and quizzes on them to keep them distracted. Quite a lot of the time I would get them up and do some sort of physical thing to help them remember different words, family members. They had to do some drawings and then they'd have to, I would say, draw a tree and they would have to do. So it was kind of using different ideas, but it was quite difficult to pull it together. So it gave me a lot more respect for my teachers who are teaching me, a year 11 student, online all day. It gave me quite a bit of respect for them because though we can be more occupied and stay focused for longer, it still must be quite difficult.
Thank you. So we're coming up now to the last formal question, which I'm about to ask. And again, I'm going to come to you all because I think this is a lovely opportunity for you to give some advice to young people out there who are debating starting their award, or perhaps are currently taking part and struggling and need a bit of guidance and advice. So the question this time is, what advice would you give to other young people thinking about starting their award now, but they're just unsure? Haya, we'll let you go first.
Okay, so the length of time it takes to achieve the award obviously depends on the level that you are undertaking. The award requires dedication and time, so you obviously might be thinking, why would I go to all of this effort just to complete an award? Well, to begin with, Duke of Edinburgh is an excellent opportunity and way to make new friends and meet new people. So working together in the wilderness on your expedition actually helps you form new bonds and great memories. And on the other hand, completing the service section of your program is also like an equally great way of making friends, because through volunteering, you're going to meet many people of different backgrounds in a working environment, which prepares you for the working world. So speaking of the working world, finding employment is obviously very difficult. There is so much competition over one job, and having the DV award on your CV might just give you the edge over other applicants. So employers highly respect this award and they value it. And it just demonstrates a well-rounded, confident individual who can work independently and is part of the team. So if you're looking for that extra step to go ahead with your chance of success, then this award is definitely for you. And my absolute favorite part of the award is just the expedition section. So it's a chance to do something different and most importantly, learn how to be an explorer. It is so easy to sit on the couch and just not venture far, but the Duke of Edinburgh program definitely motivates you to get outside. You get to sleep under the stars, witness incredible scenery and natural landforms, which you definitely do not get to do while sitting at home. So if you've got the chance to complete your DOV award, then just go for it. I can guarantee you that you'll thoroughly enjoy it and benefit from the learning experience that comes along with it.
Thank you very much. And I think that the one of the key points I think you picked up earlier was the fact that employers really do value seeing a DAV award in people's CVs, and it stretches beyond employers. You know, whenever you think about the number of people applying for one university space, again, people recognize the award. It's internationally renowned, and I think it does stand out. In my day job, I interview people quite a lot for jobs, and I love seeing people's applications coming in where they tell us about their award experience. I know they're applying to come and work for the Duke of Edinburgh's award when I'm interviewing them, but it's still lovely to be able to tease out the fact that they are a well-rounded individual, and generally we can trace that back to their involvement in the award. So I think you really highlighted that well. Thank you very much. Anyone else want to give us your advice for someone who's wondering whether they should start doing their award?
Well, following on from what Haya said, it's not all about so it's about obviously making bonds with new people and helping others, but it's also if you do it with my friends. I remember we didn't get to do our final expedition, but we got to do our practice one, and I did it with my friends. And during the award and during the expedition, there were a few rough times when we're trying to work out which way to go, and there's two sides to the argument. And there were some bickering, but I think overall we come out a lot stronger as friends, and we felt more confident in trusting each other because even though it's just 2 days, that's all it takes because you're out there, you're on your own, you have to rely on each other to remember to bring stuff, to go the right way, to read the map correctly, as well as bonding and meeting new people and getting to feel good. Like she said, you're not on the couch anymore, you are out in the open. And it gives you a new sense that you can do stuff like this, even if you're not a very active person, if you've had some injury or something previously that's kind of caused you to not be as active as you normally are or as you wish to be. This is quite an easy way to say, I can do this 30-40 kilometer walk in 2 days, even though I've just come back from this sporting injury, which had happened to me. I injured myself quite badly in netball a couple of months before we did the expedition. So I had to wear a knee brace while doing this hike, but I managed to complete it. And afterwards, though at the time I was aching a lot, it felt really good to go, even though I've been on crutches, even though I've been sat on the sofa for the last 3 months. I know I can do this, and if I can do this, there's a lot more that I can do. And now I'm so much stronger and I have no regrets.
And do you put that all down to your participation in the award? Do you think that's the key to all of this?
I think if I hadn't started trying to prepare for this hike and do this hike and not want to let my friends down by saying I don't want to continue the Duke of Edinburgh because of my knee, I probably would still be very unfit. I wouldn't be participating in sport, and I don't think I would have recovered as well. But the fact that I couldn't let my friends down, and I had to say I'm doing this hike, it then just made everything like I sat here and I was like, okay, well, I need to get ready for this hike, and I started training. I started getting fitter and more positive because of the exercise and the serotonin. So without this award, I probably would have got a lot worse due to my injury. But thanks to the award, I'm now healthier and better for it.
Excellent. I think that's a fantastic message. Yingzu, go ahead.
So from an international work, one valuable stuff is that I learned self-discipline and time management. It helped me a lot by managing my time, and I can free loads of time to do the award and learn new skills and also focus on my schoolwork. And secondly, I made loads of friends during expedition because I was the only year 11 girls who was in the group. So I had to go on an expedition with the year 12, last year. And I met them, and then we made friends, and we took beautiful photographs of the landscape, and we really enjoyed our expedition. And for service, I helped my school to kind of establish a paper recycling system in primary and secondary, and that's so not just myself benefit from this award, but also my school.
Yeah, so it might seem scary at first and a lot of work, and it was for me. But after going through the award, so far it's really worth it because once you get into a routine, it will start to feel like something you enjoy doing. So my tip is to choose activities that you actually enjoy. And it's a really great way to grow as a person because the award pushes you out of your comfort zone. And also, a bonus for me is it gives you an upper hand during university applications.
Yeah, I think all those points are so important. And I think you're right. I think you need to choose something you're going to enjoy. There's no point choosing an activity that you're going to sit back every week and think, goodness, I have to go and do this. I really don't want to. Pick something. You know, it's at the end of the day, it's your program, and you can choose to do whatever you want to do, and find something fun and exciting that's going to really engage you right throughout.
I just want to add on that during the pandemic, people face a slump of no productivity whatsoever, not doing any tasks during the day, getting lazy at home during isolation. I think the award really incentivizes the creation of a goal and then proper progress towards that goal. So if you're really someone who's looking to accomplish something during the pandemic, if you really want to get occupied, just really distract yourself from all the stress, choose activities that you like and keep yourself busy with the program. I think that really helped me through the pandemic. Yeah.
Great. We've had a really good question actually from a parent on the chat who's asking how parents can support their child who's pursuing the award. So I don't know, you guys want to give your experiences on how your parents have supported you and other adults who've been involved. And James and Monica, if you've got any comments on how you think parents can support their children.
Well, I'll start by saying that my mom was my shining star, my be-all and end-all, my starter, my helper, and then left me to be the finisher. I found out about the award long before I was eligible to partake in it. When I was very, very young, and I said, "Oh, Mom, you know, I'm struggling at school and I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't think I'm good at anything." And my mom said, "Well, you're going to be so lucky. When you get into high school, you can do the Duke of Edinburgh's Award." And in South Africa, we call it the President's Award because it's named after the highest office in the land, which for us there is the president. And I said, "Okay, what's that about?" And she said, "Well, it's about you taking control of your life and how you want to improve yourself through doing 3 things: a sport, a skill, and some community service." And with that, I thought, okay, and you know, but you know, it's so competitive. Do I have to then be the best at that? She said, "The best thing about it is that you don't. This is about you competing with yourself, improving yourself through setting your own goals and working towards them. And it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing as long as you're showing progress." And I thought, with that in mind, this sounds like something I'd be really interested in. I got so enthusiastic about it. I said before, I did the bronze and silver and then gold. And then I stayed on to be an alumni for this program. That's what I'm all about in South Africa. And then continuing on from when I moved to Australia on my own, and then got in touch with the people that run it here. And then obviously through being an emerging leader as well. So yes, I think I owe it all to my mom. How about you guys?
I feel like the main concern that my parents had once I began my gold award was that I wouldn't have enough time to focus on my academics because it was just a couple of months after I started my A levels. So you know, there's a lot of workload in A levels. So they were really unsure about how I'd manage it. But I feel like the way in which they supported me was that they trusted me with balancing my time. They trusted me to explore extracurricular activities, just like the Duke of Edinburgh's award, and they gave me the space for me to figure it out whether I can actually whether I can actually take part in an activity or not. And it goes, I mean, DOE is the same thing. They gave me the space to try it out and see whether it's working for me. And it did work out for me. And it's been working out for me for the past 2 years. So I feel like that's the best way for parents to support their kids. Just give them the space to try it out so that they can tell for themselves whether this is something that they want to be involved in or not.
Thanks, Devansh. There was a question just now on the Q&A about, and you mentioned in relation to your studies and your academics. So I think that's really important, and it's nice to hear how it's giving you the space to think that. So thank you for that. That's really important. Thank you.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think reflecting on the role of parents and guardians and carers is really important. And I know I would never have completed my own bronze, silver and gold awards if it hadn't have been for mum and dad's quiet encouragement in the background. And it was never it was never anything more than quiet encouragement, you know, that checking every now and then, how are you getting on with your volunteering? You know, don't forget to get your assessor report signed off and submitted on time. And, you know, okay, your expedition's coming up. Let's think about your adventurous journey. Let's think about ensuring you have everything you need in terms of your kit and your rucksack ready to go. I have to admit, there were many an evening where I went to bed and poor mum was left to pack the rucksack for me, as I was like, I'm off now, goodbye. And I'm sure lots of parents have had that experience too. And that was probably more so at bronze. And by the time I got to gold, I was quite self-sufficient. But I think parents have a really important role to play. And one of the things I love at our Gold Award presentations in the UK, whenever I get to be a room steward and look after people receiving their Gold Award, I always ask the young people to give a round of applause for their parents for all of the support that they've given them throughout the award. Because I always remind the young people that very few of them would be sitting at the palace that day if it hadn't have been for the support and guidance of their parents from the outset. So I think that's really important. And I think parents can, you know, you can be such a guiding influence for your children. And I think that's really important and something we definitely want to encourage parents to be able to do.
And what about our participants on the call just now? What about you guys? Are you feeling connected to your participants? Do you feel like it's united you within your, whether it's a school or a centre that you're taking part in? Devansh?
So I'll be speaking primarily on my experience with the Bronze Award. So for us, the award ceremony happens in the British Embassy in Kathmandu. So over there, we meet all the participants from all over Kathmandu and actually all over Nepal. So it really does feel like we're all united because we get to talk to each other about what we've done, how we've progressed, all of those kind of things. But I also feel like what James said is really true because even during the course of the award itself, we feel united with each other, all of us participants, be it within the school, be it within the group, especially during the adventurous journey, because it's something which is really, you know, different than what we're doing on a day-to-day. It's a couple of nights of hiking, extremely tough terrain, you know, doing all sorts of things that we are not usually used to. So along the course of just a couple of days, you really tend to make the bestest of friends. And as a matter of fact, the friends with whom I went on an adventurous journey during my Bronze Award are participants in the Gold Award too. So unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to go for a journey for our Gold Award, but we're still the bestest of friends. And I'm pretty sure we'll remain like that for several years.
One thing I remember from my adventure journey was that during the course of the journey, I really like collecting rocks. So over the journey, I would keep going on the mountain and just keep collecting rocks and filling my backpack with it. And surprisingly, the students in my team, so my friends, what they did is they found a couple of heart-shaped rocks and they gave it to me to keep as a reminder of the journey. And whenever we meet, we kind of show our rocks with each other and exchange the rocks. And that's something that I find really nice. And it helps me keep a memory of the adventure journey that we had.
Adding on to what Devan said, so we take these long hikes, and after reaching the destination while making tents or cooking for each other, I think there are a lot of memories that we've made. And even though friends that we went on our bronze journey with, even though we don't talk to them a lot, I think even if we're in the same room, somehow the story of a spoiled hot chocolate comes up and then we all start laughing about it. So it's just the memories and the group of friends that we've accumulated through this award. We'll cherish it forever.
So for me, we didn't have the AJ yet because the pandemic happened. So what we did was the virtual AJ instead. And I'm actually currently participating in that. And because of that, I connected with people, with my juniors, which I wasn't close to before. And I'm currently getting closer with also people of my grade. So I think the AJ really connected all the participants.
So the advice I would give someone who's unsure about starting the program is to approach it with an open mind and be excited about the person this award teaches you to be. You should be willing to work hard, but the abundance of skills and attributes you develop makes it all worth it. Also, I would say don't necessarily look at it as a number of hours you have to achieve, but try to like immerse yourself into the skills you're developing and like how that's helping you. So look at it as like becoming a whole rounded learner as opposed to just completing the specified hours for the award.
Sure. And if you think back over your award program, what skills do you feel you've gained that you wouldn't have gained otherwise if you weren't taking part?
So first and foremost, like definitely my time management skills and like prioritizing my time. Last year definitely came with its challenges in becoming more able to adapt to different things that I encounter and making sure that I'm persistent. And even if things like don't necessarily go the way it's planned, not to give up, but to keep working and to find different solutions. And I'm sure that this is a skill I'll have to make use of like for my whole life, basically. And I also like became passionate about like new things that I never knew I'd be passionate towards. Like playing the piano. I never played the piano before starting this program, though this program taught me a new skill, and now it's something that I want to continue even after achieving the award.
Fantastic. And I think that's nice that you find something through your award participation that you do want to continue on with, that you don't just do it for the duration of your program and then let it go, but it's something that you can keep doing in the future. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Could we ask our audience, and you can type this in the chat, what is one word to describe how you felt taking part in the award during this time? This is to participants in particular, but that would be fantastic to hear from our audience. So one word, how you felt taking part in the award during this time. I'm gonna pop that in the chat.
While our audience are typing, to some of our participants on screen, do you want to give us a word on how you felt when you were taking part in your award?
Probably the word that I would have to use is proud. Proud for me, proud for my friends, proud for the school being able to continue throughout the COVID and the pandemic and being able to pursue the Duke of Edinburgh and getting our award even through difficult times.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And I think you do feel that sense of pride. I completed my own gold award perhaps 15 years ago. And, you know, your chest does slightly puff up a wee bit whenever you're popping your gold badge onto your jacket, whenever you're going out to a nice event. You know, there's definitely a sense of pride comes with being an award holder.
So there's obviously a great sense of satisfaction. Once you tick off your personal goals for each of the different sections, you'll find yourself with a really great sense of satisfaction, as in like, I did it. And I think so can anyone who tries. The Duke of Edinburgh Award is a perfect opportunity for you to learn about any strengths or weaknesses that you may have. And it also allows you to work on these things that you're not very good at.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is that personal challenge. So it's challenging yourself for those things that perhaps you don't think that you will be very good at the outset. So you've all talked really passionately about how much you've enjoyed taking part in your physical activity. For some people, that might be the part that they're not looking forward to. And it is that personal challenge and finding a challenge that's suitable for you. Anyone else want to give us that word before we sum up? The word of how you felt when you were taking part. Matteo, I feel like you have a burning answer for us.
Honestly, I felt motivated because during the quarantine, when it's hard to motivate yourself if you don't have anything on your list, anything to do. But I always had something to do thanks to the Duke of Edinburgh. So it motivated me to do more.
That's awesome. Just one, actually, we've got one more, and in fact, I think it's Salade, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name here, in the audience, saying, feeling wonderful by giving back to the community, and the award made me what I am today. So I think that's a really, really lovely sentiment, and hopefully you five as panelists and participants and continuing your awards also feel that across the board, you know, service or otherwise. We've got just probably, and this is going to probably help sort of lead us towards the end of today's webinar, but we've got another question, Gareth Steed in the Q&A, and said, have you found that being part of the award has helped in other areas of your life, schooling, or decisions on your future directions? Quite a big question there. So again, I'll sort of open it up to our panelists. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I started doing community service because of Duke of Edinburgh's award, and I've been engaged in this for over 5 years now with the bronze and the gold and everything. And I think because of that, there is a sense of, I know that I want to do something to help the community even when I grew up. So because of that, I know that whatever career I choose in, I know I want to give back to the community no matter what I do or what I choose. So it has definitely impacted my future goals.
I'd say that in terms of future decisions, the skill that I started, that was learning guitar. When I started it off, I had no idea how to play a guitar, no idea how music even works. And the progress I've made through this award has really made me motivated to continue guitar for at least another 10 years, at least another 15 years. And that commitment of a large scale in my life has only been possible because of the award. So
I feel like what I have to say is pretty much what Visma and Bishruti already said. It's just that whatever I've participated in right now, I feel like it's something that I really enjoy. So I really want to take it forward, even in the next 4 years in college or even beyond that. So, for example, uh, at school right now, I don't have the option of learning a foreign language. But in college, I will have the option to take up Mandarin. So when I was looking for colleges in the US earlier last year, I made sure that the colleges that I was applying to had specific opportunities pertaining to Mandarin or let's say like Chinese exchange programs, stuff like that. On top of that, I also made sure that colleges had specific community service opportunities. So I feel like it definitely has DOE definitely has made a quite a big impact on my future decisions, on my future goals, and I feel like I'll really follow through with them once I'm off to college.
So for me, the community service was recycling e-waste. So now because of this activity, I've really decided that perhaps I want to do something in the environment field in the future. So maybe an environmentalist, because really when I was collecting these items, the people who were donating them were saying how amazing it is that I'm helping out the environment and the community. And even doing this just gave me that sense of like goodness in my heart. And it really helped me realize that that's what I want to do. And that's why I plan to go ahead and help out the environment in the future.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think that's so important. And I think it's, we can look at all of our award programs and pick out activities that we've particularly enjoyed. And it does help shape you for the future, that sense of giving back to the community. When I look back, I took part in my own award and I'm still involved all these years later as a volunteer. So I deliver the DV program within our Boys Brigade company. Every week, the boys take part in their DV. And if it hadn't have been because of me taking part all those years ago, I don't think they would have had those opportunities. And my everyday work, I also work for the Duke of Edinburgh's award on a day-to-day basis. And I think, again, that has all stemmed from that desire to really ensure that as many young people as possible have the opportunity to take part in such a fantastic program. So I think it does definitely help shape us all for kind of future life and work.
Finish this off by saying thank you so much to all the participants who've been on the webinar today. You've answered some fantastic questions and it's been great to hear your stories, hear what you've been doing in the pandemic and how you've overcome the challenges. It's been really, really inspiring, and you're an absolutely fantastic, great part to our puzzle of, we've got about 1.2 million participants at the moment across the world. So you're such an important part of that. So we just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
To our 5 panelists today, Haya, Layla, Matteo, Yingzu, and thank you so much. Akira, sorry.
Thank you to everyone who's been listening in as well. Again, taking forward the ideas that the panelists have shared has been great. And of course, thank you to James and Monica for hosting today and being really, really great webinar hosts. I think you'll all agree it's been brilliant. So thank you guys. I just want to say have a great day or evening or night or wherever you're going next. And please do keep continuing your award, keep continuing inspiring people to do their award. And hopefully you'll be involved for a long, long time to come. So yeah, thank you and good night, as they say.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for joining. It was lovely to meet you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for having us here today.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.